G'day legends, Blake here with another video, and today I was thinking about all the weird and quirky fish that we have available to us in the hobby. I think we're pretty lucky with that, so I wanted to just run through a list of some of those today. Of course, I've kept some of these before, I'll let you know my experience on that, but other ones I just think are really cool and weird and we should highlight them. So let's jump straight into the video and start talking about these weird and quirky fish. The first one I want to talk about is axolotls. Now, they're actually not really a fish, they're an amphibian, I think, but actually what they are is called a pedomorphic salamander, which means that they just always live in their juvenile state. Really, really weird. They look kind of like a hybrid between a lizard and a fish. They've got these massive gills that flap back and forth, and you can get heaps of colors. I've actually got a couple over there that my boys picked out, so that's kind of their pets, and I absolutely love them. They're really weird and cool. Next one is also a fish that I keep at the moment, and that is snakehead gudgeons. Again, kind of look like a snake, kind of look like a fish. They have burrowing behavior, weird sort of coloration, like they'll go darker and lighter depending on what they're swimming past, and overall they're pretty cool. Third one are elephant nose fish. Again, we're finding a lot of things that look like animals, but also fish. Elephant nose fish have like a anteater type snout, which is pretty weird. They interact with electrical current as well. So if you have a stray, a broken heater or something in the tank, they can really be weird to that. Well, most fish can, it depends how broken it is. But they'll also react to things like knife fish and other fish that give off electrical currents too. And what you've been seeing through this part is footage of a double-nosed elephant fish from All Fish 2, which is even weirder, so I'm all for that. Next one, I've done a video on when I used to keep these guys, and I called them little alien stingrays, and that's hillstream loaches, Borneo suckers, those flat to the ground little suckers that kind of just stick to the glass and have a weird shuffling movement, and the whole thing about them is pretty weird. They're cool because they're, I think, the first nano species that I've talked about here. So if you've got a smaller fish, smaller tank, and you want to keep something weird, well, there's still heaps of options for that. But these ones are always ones that I recommend. I absolutely love Borneo suckers or hillstream loaches, any of those weird, shuffly looking fish. Another one is one that I've recommended plenty before as well, typically around Halloween when I'm really starting to think about these guys, and that is glass cats. Glass cats are pretty cool. They actually get a lot bigger than you've probably seen them at your local fish store, but of course they have to make the list. They look translucent. You can literally see their stomach and skeleton and everything. What's not to think is weird about these guys? Like, they just really boggle the mind of how they can be a fish and how they can be kept in aquariums, and they're actually pretty good community fish to keep. So again, pretty cool. They look like mini skeletal arowanas or something. Number 6, mud skippers. Having that hybrid out of land, in the water sort of evolutionary link sort of vibe to them. Really, really weird. They've got eyes on the top of their head like a frog, but you know, what are they? They have even weird interactions with their food and all sorts of cool stuff. So they're kind of like a frog, a hopping mouse, and a tadpole all in one. So mud skippers are really, really cool, I reckon. 7 is another fish that I've actually kept. That's African butterfly fish. They look like, you know, a leaf has fallen into the water. That's deliberate, really. They look like a butterfly has fallen into the water, which seems kind of odd to me as well, because wouldn't that make you food for a lot of fish, a lot of predator fish? But in any case, they like to just lay about in slow-moving water. Big old trapdoor mouth like an arowana, and again, a super quirky one, but sometimes you might have even walked past them in fish stores and not noticed they're there because they just kind of bob about in the top of the water like a buoy, or as the people in the States call it, a buoy. Number 8, one I think is really weird, clown knife fish. They got dots up the side of them, but they look like sort of a hybrid between a knife and a fish. Well, I guess that's probably why they call them knife fish, but just really weird. Black ghost knives could have also been on the list for sure, but clown knives look even weirder. They've got like this biggest head scoop I've ever seen, weird sharp teeth that look pretty dangerous. So clown knife fish is definitely one that I can admire for its quirkiness, but probably won't be in my fish room anytime soon. For number 9, I've lumped together a bunch of ones with weird heads. So flower horns with their huge coke, which is how it's pronounced, coke apparently, K-O-K, frontosa, and lionhead cichlids. Different sizes, different levels of activity and aggression with those three, but they all have a weird statuesque like look about them. I don't know if they're a cartoon character or a fish, but they're weird nonetheless, so of course they had to make it onto this list. Number 10, we've got a fish that looks like it's been run over by something, but it's the freshwater sole. Actually, I've seen quite a few of these available lately. They don't get too big, but again, you might really not notice them, or if you do, you might think they're a giant leech or something weird. But freshwater sole, it's definitely one that's pretty quirky. Just like the saltwater sole, they're flat as a plate, just eyes poking up at you, and they're just gonna be waiting for some sort of morsel to go by them. So freshwater sole, pretty weird. Number 10 is one that's common here in Australia. I'm not sure about around the world, but it's the bull rout. It's also called the freshwater stonefish. Definitely looks like a big rock, a mossy rock, and definitely poisonous. So if you do get one, be careful about moving your hardscape around. But of course, super, super weird looking fish. I think, you know, the pictures do that one justice. Next one up, half beaks. I mean, straight away by the name, weird. Why you got half a beak? Like, make your mind up. Are you gonna be a gar or are you gonna be a normal looking fish? But I have kept these guys before and I absolutely love them. I even love that they're live bearers, so that's just another element of quirkiness to them. But platinum half beaks especially, I really like. Flamingo half beaks are pretty cool too. So half beaks are definitely one to give a go. Blind cave tetras, again, just sort of really speaks to itself. What's up with that? Like, they just look really weird and they look exactly like what you would find in some sort of cave that hasn't seen the light of day in centuries. So yeah, kind of an abomination, but of course, I can see the interest in how quirky they are. While we're on the topic of tetras, let's go for the Bucktooth Tetra or the Vampire Tetra. Really scary looking fish. They look like they could be in some sort of horror movie like Piranha 3D or any of those really, really low quality, cheaply made horror movies. I could see either of these tetras making that list. Kind of like the piranhas that piranhas should actually be like. So these guys are both really weird and of course had to make the list. Two left that I jotted down today, and one of them is upside down catfish. Again, this one's more of a behavioral thing. They don't look that weird, but why are you swimming around upside down for? That's just makes no sense. Of course, just quirky behavior. If your friends come around, they'll probably think that there's something wrong with your fish. It's a bit special, but you know, those fish sometimes are the ones that we absolutely love. So me included, love a bit of upside down catfish in my life. And last but definitely least, in my opinion, because I have talked about this many, many times on the channel, in particular in live streams, and I don't know why these things appeal to people. They're huge, they're aggressive, and they look really, really weird. They look like they're a half melted candle, and that is the giant gourami. I can kind of be convinced about red tail black giant gouramis, but pink giant gouramis, I'm sorry, if you kept one or if you currently keep one and it's your big beloved pet, then, you know, power to you. You won't have any competition with me because I'm quite happy to walk by them in any store. I'm sure there's some appeal somewhere, but for me, I just can't get on board how weird giant gouramis look. Like, their eyes are bulging out the side of their heads like a goldfish, but then they got these huge lips. None of it makes sense to me, so of course I had to finish off with that one. So this video is a little bit different. It wasn't overly factual, more just a bit of fun, and I want to introduce that a bit more, I think, because this hobby really, really is great. And sometimes, myself included, you can get bogged down with just facts all the time or sort of, you know, lectures. So I wanted to just have a bit of a laugh with this one. If you got some more quirky fish, be sure to drop them down below because I have a bit of a fascination with this type of fish. So of course I'd be interested in having my eyes open even further. But if you want to check out more of my videos, I'll put one right there for you to watch. Please click on that, it helps me out a ton. If not, it always helps me out to like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And hopefully I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.